Hey, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you're having a great start to the day. We are ready to roll. Uh, Hi to all the people that are watching on our Facebook and our YouTube and X. You may notice that I am not one in the studio. Also, I am Kenless again today. So, doing the show from my house to get ready for the weekend. A lot of things going on, but feel free to comment with anything you've got going on. I'd love to know. Dave Wolf is covering news right now. We want to listen in on what's going on with that, but I'm going to get myself ready for some of the other stuff that we have coming up. We're going to preview Lakeshore Lancer playoff football because, as we know, they beat St. Joe last week. I know everybody that loves St. Joe bummed out about that, but probably cheering on the Lakeshore Lancers and getting them ready for their big game against Jackson Parma Western. A really long name, but it sounds like it's going to be a really good game. I'm going to be talking with Al Pashoka here in about the next 10 minutes. So let's find out. Let's take a listen on what's the last couple bits of the news with Dave Wolf.
A little bit downtown, but past downtown, and then it'll loop over by the lake, so they'll get to take in some lake views, and then they'll come back to the starting point. That's where it ends as well.
Everyone will gather at the hotel. Lenicki says she hopes people will use the day as a chance to check out some small businesses downtown. The 5K registration is $25 for adults or $15 for kids. The Rudolph romp comes with a $5 suggested donation. We've linked to the registration page at our website. And we're setting the clocks back this weekend. Dr. Lawrence McDonald is a pulmonologist at DMC Huron Valley Sinai Hospital. He says it takes our bodies a few days to get used to the time change.
You'd think that in the fall, when you have another hour to sleep, people would sleep another hour, and they don't, because in general, their body clocks tell them to wake up at the same time they were the day before. So really what happens is over several days, because of light exposure hitting the back of the eye and the retina, it resets the body clock. So that over several days, you get back on the time zone that you're on.
McDonald wants people to not just go to bed an hour earlier on Saturday night. He says people should do it every day. It's because almost all of Americans don't get enough sleep. In the WSJM newsroom, I'm Dave Wolf.
A jury took just 5. Hey, good morning, Bill. Good morning to you. Yeah, welcome to Friday. Yeah, Ken is out today. He's out sick again, hopefully back next week. But was talking about this, or Dave Wolf was just talking about this, and I was the last hour of the show about daylight saving time, where not only we, of course, have to fall back again, that whole Sunshine Protection Act thing that we, I think, talked about in the news, was it springtime, where it actually passed the Senate and was heading to the House, and they were thinking that we were never going to have to spring forward or fall back again, but it did not get passed by the House and did not go to the president's desk to be signed into law. And so we got to fall back again. But I will say it's I like the spring forward and fall back because I feel like it kind of goes with the not only the time change, but the where the sun hits, because it gets really dark really fast. And I know growing up, it was always, especially if I was playing sports, once I got out of practice for my winter sport, whether it was basketball or wrestling or anything like that, it was dark outside. Didn't get to experience anything. Then when we fell back, it was a little better, a little more light outside. But another reason why I like daylight saving time is that it gives me that opportunity and reminder to change the batteries in my smoke detector. So, does anybody have those smoke detectors that are wired into the house? How does that work out for you? I know I do the just the basic smoke alarm that's in the house in a couple 2-3 different places, and I just got the 9-volt battery thing. But I feel like I need to get something like a 9-volt rechargeable battery or something like that, because I just feel bad going through those batteries every 6 months, even if they're still kind of working. Got to do the lick test on the battery. How's everybody else doing? Anything fun going on this weekend? Any big plans? You going anywhere? You doing anything? the weather should be pretty good. It's supposed to be the mid to high 50s. So that should be solid. Looking forward to that. Just getting everything situated. You know, when you do the show by yourself, little insider thing for you, for people that listen to the radio, and you hear people either doing a show with two people or doing a show with one person, or multiple people. Sometimes when it's one person, you really have to focus even more. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you, we have so many side conversations all the time, especially with you guys, that sometimes I don't always focus on what's coming up and what's going on. Sometimes we're just jumping from one thing to the next. But this has kind of given me, these past couple days, Ken not being here has given me a little bit of opportunity to focus even more on certain things. Some stuff I'll be honest, I have just not been paying attention to, because it's like you're looking at the next thing and the next thing and what you got coming up later on in the day. So there's a lot on your mind. But yeah, just getting all my ducks in a row and get everything where it needs to be here this morning. Did you hear about this? I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on this morning. This has been something big that a lot of people have been talking about, and you may have already listened to it, but the Beatles have a new song. It's a new kind of not new. It's bits and pieces from the past 30, 40 years of demo tapes and all that, but it is a new song. And I'll play a little bit of it for you a little bit later on this morning. But how do you feel about it? I watched actually a little documentary intro thing for it, and I think it's pretty cool. So love to know your thoughts on that. We're going to preview Lakeshore Lancer football here in just a moment.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today. We're going to see a lot of clouds across the area, and temperatures warming up a little bit more. We're going to end up around 53. Winds will be out of the southwest. It's going to be pretty breezy today. Mostly clouds tonight. We drop down to 44. We could see a few sprinkles overnight. And then for Saturday, mostly cloudy. High temperatures at 55. We'll be back at 58 on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Actually, it's with just me, Jonny, as Ken is out this morning. He's out sick, so hopefully he's back not tomorrow, because that's Saturday. I'm losing track of days, but he'll be back hopefully sometime next week. But we've got a lot to get to this weekend. I know yard work is on the way. We've got cool events going on, so I know you're hoping to just get through today. If you got one of those half days, I know some people have been kind of using their vacation days and just saying, you know what? I'm going to give myself a 3-day weekend. And it's a good idea because there's a lot going on. Maybe you have a trip. Maybe you're going on a road trip, or like some people that I know, maybe you're going to the Michigan game. Maybe you're getting ready for a high school football game. Well, I know some teams in the area are getting ready for them. It was a hard fought game last week that you heard on 94.9 WSJM with Lakeshore and St. Joe. And now Lakeshore is making their way to another game and the district final against a great opponent. So we'll preview Lakeshore Lancer football here in just a little bit, but we've got playoff games happening all across Southwest Michigan. So if you got one in your area, it's a good time to go cheer them on. Even if your kids don't go to school there, if you got a fun game in the region, go check it out. Because there's some teams that are playing really, really well. And there might be a Southwest Michigan team that goes all the way, maybe into the regional and maybe all the way to Ford Field. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just take it week by week. All right. So let's find out what's happening with the Lakeshore Lancer preview. It's time to preview Lakeshore Lancer playoff football. And we've got the voice of the Lancers, Al Pashoka, joining us. Al, how are you?
I'm great. That was a good win for the Lancers last Friday night. And boy, it took a lot. It was a great start. But let me share a couple of quick stories with you, Johnny.
Sure.
There's a kid on the Lakeshore football team by the name of Luke Ponton. He's a senior. He's the leading tackler. He had got injured a couple of weeks ago. And in school last Thursday, he was on a scooter. So he had his foot in a boot. He was on a scooter. He rolled up to the coach and said, "I'm going to practice this afternoon."
No way.
And Danny Thompson just kind of laughed at him and said, "No, Luke, you're not going to."
No.
Well, sure enough, he showed up at practice, took the boot off, taped it up, played Friday night on one leg, made 10 tackles, and played the game of his life. I mean, just tremendous effort. They had another kid, Zach Meacham, who played defensive end all season long. They moved him inside to defensive tackle. He probably weighs about 170 pounds, and he played a tremendous game, stopping that St. Joe running game, and the Lancers advanced 20-15. But just the effort, it goes to show with high school kids 15 to 18 years old, you just never know what's going to happen, especially in a rivalry type game.
Yeah, that's why I love high school football, especially.
Yeah.
You never know. Records don't matter. Previous matchups don't matter. It's all what happens on the field and who leaves more out there.
It is the purest form of competition that's left. So it's definitely worth your $7 to go out and see a high school game.
So now the Lakeshore Lancers have advanced, and they have a big game against Jackson Parma Western. Now, I think I got that right. That's
no, you did. That was very good, Jimmy.
Thank you. I practiced before we got on here. And it's a home game, right? Is that right?
It's a home game for Parma. This will be the first time this year that Lakeshore will have played on grass.
Ooh.
Every single game we played has been on turf. Parma Western is a natural grass field. They're 9-1. They've made the playoffs 8 years in a row. This is a really good team. They've got 8 starters back on offense, 8 starters back on defense from a playoff team a year ago. I did get to see a little bit of tape on them. They played Detroit Country Day earlier in the season. They were losing 17-0 and came back and won 20-17. Here's what stood out to me. Their offensive line is big and tough. 4 of 5 starters have started at least 2 years on the offensive line. Kind of remind me of Niles. Big, solid kids. They run the spread, 3 wideouts, and a tight end who's about 6'7" or 6'8". He towers over everybody else in the huddle. Their running backs all look like they're about 200, 205 pounds, and they run straight ahead. They run straight downhill. So the Lancers are going to have to, like they did last week against St. Joe, really stop the run, get in the box, and try to hold that running game down.
Yeah, and what's the when it comes to grass, how much is that going to come to play because in the game, because more and more schools are moving to the turf, so you're seeing less and less grass field competition. How much is that going to come into play?
Yeah, no, I'll bet Lakeshore practiced all week on grass. They got the different shoes out. They got the different cleats out in order to go and play on grass, which is just something we haven't done all season long, which is kind of interesting. But Parma Western is this is a team that they really believe they've got a chance to go all the way to the dome. Big, strong, tough. The one thing I did notice, they had trouble with a running quarterback, and they're going to see a really good running quarterback in Matt Vaughn this week for Lakeshore.
That'll be an interesting game. Looking forward to it. You'll have pregame around 6:45 on our sister station, 97.5 Y Country. What are some other things that need to happen during this game in order for Lakeshore to come out on top?
Lakeshore's got to eliminate the turnovers. They turned the ball over 3 times last week against St. Joe. They've got to do a better job with the center snap, believe it or not. We had 3 different centers in there the last 3 weeks. And just getting that shotgun snap down, because these defenders for Jackson Parma Western, they line up in a 5-2 and all 5 guys are coming every play. So if you bobble the snap or you have any kind of miscommunication in the backfield, they're going to be all over you. So those are the 2 big things that stand out. No turnovers, no penalties, get the snap down, and force this game into a 4-quarter game.
Is that scooter kid going to be playing again? Is he still on a scooter?
Oh yeah, no, I think he probably scooted around school all week and tape him up, put some duct tape on him and throw him out there, and Luke Ponton will be ready to go. He's a Baroda kid. He's tough.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, man, I've tried to play on one leg and it's it not worked out for me. I'm not that great on two legs, on one. But yeah, playing with injury and playing through an injury is so tough to be able to do that because you're just so limited on certain things that you can do, and you really have to be focused on not hurting yourself more. But yeah, it's tough. So I'm sure Coach Thompson will keep an eye on him, and the kids as well will keep an eye on any injuries that they may have looming. But looking forward to this game. By the way, your Lakeshore Lancer preview brought to you by our friends at Laser Graphics. Give them the stuff they want from Laser Graphics. And I'm crossing my fingers for the Lakeshore Lancers and you, Al. I'd love to talk to you again next week as
Let's
maybe.
Let's do it one more. Let's do it one more time, my friend. Let's go.
All right. So you can catch that game again tonight at 7 or 6:45 on our sister station, 97.5 Y Country. You can also listen 97.5ycountry.com and on the app. But we'll talk to you again soon, Al.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Go Lancers.
Let's go Red.
Looking forward to that game. It should be a good one. And yeah, you can hear that on our sister station, 97.5 Y Country, as well as 97.5ycountry.com and the Y Country app. Be sure to download that as well. Your Lakeshore Lancer preview brought to you by our friends at Laser Graphics. Give them the stuff they want from Laser Graphics. You can go to lasergraphics.com. That's laser with a Z. Here in just a few minutes, we'll catch you up with news, sports, and your Bloomberg Market Minute. It's all next on the morning show on 94.9 WSJM.
Make the difference. Meet Jen Postello, mortgage lender for Van Buren County.
My husband and I own a Christmas tree farm.
All right, everybody. Hopefully you're having a good day. I know Ken is not here, so hopefully he's having a good day. I know he's out sick. Never fun to be sick. Tis the season for all kinds of different illnesses going around. Be sure to get your flu shots, get your vitamin C's, your echinaceas, whatever your remedy is. Be sure to stock up on that stuff because this whole weather change that we've been having where it's, snow, get a little bit of that, get a little bit of rain, get a little bit of this, that, and the other. Plus, if you're outside raking, you're kicking up all those, all that pollen that's kind of still lingering and still hanging out. So just be mindful of that stuff. Don't want people getting sick. I don't like being sick. I know I hate it. Luckily, knock on wood, I have not been sick for quite some time. I've been fighting stuff pretty well, I think, which is good to be in my mid-30s and still have a decently good immune system. But you just got to stay on top of that stuff. Wash your hands, get enough sleep. I know you're going to probably have your sleep thrown off this weekend with the daylight saving time, but hey, what are you going to do? But just be mindful of all of those things. Some things going on that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit are a new song. I'll call it new. I'll put the quotations there. A new song from the Beatles. Never thought I'd say that. In 2023, there's a new song from the Beatles. Going to give you a little bit of background on it. You may have already heard this song, but I was watching some a little like documentary about it and kind of how it all came to be. And it's pretty interesting to see that. So, and to see how technology has helped people, especially musicians, how has it helped musicians go through some stuff and make stuff that they never thought they could be able to do and revive and make happen, but now they have. And I think it's a pretty cool advancement in technology, but also I don't know. I don't know. I just want your thoughts on this. So I'll play a little bit of that song for you to take a listen to. We'll catch you up with news as well as your Bloomberg Market Minute here in just a couple of minutes. We'll listen in on some of that stuff. But what else we got going on? Also, I've been seeing a lot about Thanksgiving and getting ready for Thanksgiving already. I've also seen some stuff about decorating. Jocelyn mentioned this to me yesterday that it's about time to go grab the Christmas decorations and get those up. So yes, it's started. Time for the Christmas decorations already. So what do you think? Are you getting your Christmas decorations out this weekend, getting them ready, or are you one that holds off and waits until Thanksgiving? I'd love to know. All right, let's get back to the show here.
These down, and I know it's there, but I can't get it. Yeah. And it just kills me.
I remember watching Dad interact with the kids and thinking, geez, in 5, 6 years, will he even know who they are? 1 in 10 Americans over 65 has Alzheimer's disease. Learn more today at brightfocus.org.
I'm John Gonzalez.
And I'm Amy Sherman. Join us every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM as we go Behind the Mitten.
We'll take you all over Michigan, introduce you to incredible events, amazing people, and fun things to do.
We'll go above the bridge and from shore to shore, helping you to find your next great adventure.
That's Behind the Mitten, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
The Bloomberg Business Minute on WSJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple was already facing a slowdown in China. Now it's warning that revenue over the holiday quarter will be about the same as last year, and that is not something investors wanted to hear. The company did say iPhone revenue is expected to rise and Mac computer sales will ramp up, but revenue from the iPad and the category that includes the Apple Watch will drop significantly. Apple just reported its 4th straight revenue decline. Starbucks says it plans to double its loyalty member numbers and dramatically boost its digital business as it works to meet growth targets. The company promised investors it would reach 150 million rewards members in 5 years. Starbucks also plans to ramp up its store renovations and open more stores with features like double-sided drive-thrus. Traders are awaiting the October jobs report, and Wall Street has been on a winning streak this week. The S&P 500 rose almost 2% yesterday as the Fed drops hints it may be done with the rate hikes. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning. Just past 7:30. Ken out this morning. He's out sick, so hopefully he's back next week. Today is going to be a pretty decent day weather-wise. Cloudy and a high of 53. We're looking at some clouds tonight with a low down to 44. Saturday, Sunday, mid to high 50s. So good time to catch up on the yard work, get some raking done. I know down here at my house in Niles, they were doing the leaf pickup, and it's so cool. Oh my gosh, so cool with the big giant tube vacuum thing, and they just drive by and suck them all up. Now I know some communities they have to bag the leaves, so if you have some fun doing that. I actually I got this from one of the hardware stores. I got this really cool plastic sort of chute thing that makes the leaf bag thing, the leaf bag raking, a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable, because you've got to when you have to move the bags around and do a bunch of stuff, it makes it very interesting when you're trying to fit all the bags in there. So if you're doing some leaf pickup this morning or this weekend, be sure to as I just hear one of my neighbors leaf blowing this morning. Yes, 7:30, and they're already leaf blowing. We'll get to sports in just a little bit with Dave Wolf. We'll also catch you up on what's happening around the state and around the nation. But right now, let's find out what's happening here locally with WSJM News.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
In the WSJM Newsroom, I'm Dave Wolf. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Michigan have been denied a $2 million federal grant to fight violent crime in Benton Harbor, but that doesn't mean the effort to secure the funds is over. Berrien County Commissioner Chokwe Pitchford worked with the club to pursue the grant from the U.S. Department of Justice's Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative after the county board declined to seek it for the Berrien County Health Department this year. Pitchford says the Boys and Girls Clubs learned last week they were declined.
I am just immensely proud that in that moment where it looked like we weren't going to be able to apply for them at all, we found a partner in the community who was willing to apply for those funds. And even though they didn't receive them, the fight isn't over.
Pitchford says another grant cycle will come next year, and then another attempt can be made, this time with even better planning.
Every single dollar that comes in is the first step, and it's a start. There is a larger conversation that has to be had about the socioeconomic factors that lead to violence and how you can start to address those factors as well.
Pitchford says the Boys and Girls Clubs have a variety of programs that work with young people. Those could be used to teach conflict resolution or to address issues young people may be having at home. With violent crime of all kinds a concern in Benton Harbor, he says the conversation about prevention isn't over. The Berrien County Board of Commissioners is preparing for the expansion of broadband internet into underserved areas of the community now that Midwest Energy and Communications has gotten final approval for a state grant. News that the Robin grant was given the green light by the Michigan High-Speed Internet Office came last week. Speaking at a Thursday meeting, Berrien County Commissioner Terry Freeling said this will mean huge progress.
We're walking away with this project being funded total with $55 million, and it will be 433 miles of fiber within Berrien County alone.
Berrien County Administrator Brian Essett told commissioners to be in contact with township officials in their districts as MEC starts asking for right-of-way permits.
Just sit and talk through with them what this construction schedule looks like, what they should expect as far as permitting, what they should expect as far as potential complaints about the construction process.
Freeling laid out a tentative schedule for the work to expand fiber. Under the current plan, work should begin in Bertrand Township in the second quarter of 2024. Next will be Galeen, Broda, and Eau Claire later this year. And the project will wrap up with Hager Township, 12 Corners in Benton Township, and Coloma Township in the third quarter of 2025. This will make high-speed internet available to about 5,000 additional homes throughout the county. Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the Michigan Community Service Commission have announced the 42 winners of who will be honored at the 2023 Governor's Service Award this month in Detroit. And one of the award recipients is Diane Young of Benton Harbor. Young is a success coach at Michigan Works, and she's been named one of the 5 volunteers of the year. She tells us she works with people who face difficulties getting to work.
My role is to work with the employees to remove barriers such as food insecurity, household, utility assistance. Just a lot of life happens and a lot of the issues that the employees face. So I serve as that person to work with them to remove whatever those barriers are that could cause them to miss work or be late for work or even come to work but not really perform to the best of their ability because they got all of this stuff going on outside of the job.
Young volunteers with a variety of organizations in Berrien County, including the United Way, the Berrien Community Foundation, and Benton Harbor High School. She was nominated for the Michigan Community Service Commission Award by a friend at the United Way of Southwest Michigan. Young will head to the Fox Theater in Detroit on November 28th to receive the award. Also being honored with an older adult volunteer of the award is E.T. Buck of South Haven. The Berrien County Board of Commissioners has officially thanked artist Tuck Langhad for his help in restoring the statue of Madeline Bertrand that was stolen from Madeline Bertrand County Park earlier this year. Andrew Green reports.
The statue disappeared from the park in March, but then was returned in May. It was damaged when it was taken, having been cut off at the ankles. Tuck Langland was the original artist who created the statue, which has been at the park since 1987. When it was returned, he offered to restore it, donating his time and labor. The statue was fully restored and brought back to its rightful place in September, thanks to the efforts of Tuck and his business partner, Janice Langland. On Thursday, the Berrien County Board of Commissioners approved a resolution thanking them, saying the county, quote, will be forever grateful for their incredible talent and commitment to the citizens of Berrien County. Andrew Green, WSJM News.
And set for November 25th is the first annual Reindeer Run 5K and Kids Rudolph Romp in downtown South Haven. Minton Children's Museum Director Wendy Onuki tells us they're holding the event to raise funds for the museum and to have some fun.
Just getting people out, having fun, doing something healthy. It's for the whole family. Even parents or grandparents with strollers can run the course. And then, of course, there's the kids' fun run. So it should be just a really fun and adorable morning.
The 5K will start at the historic Hotel Nichols on Center Street and then take everyone around the downtown to the lake and back. Onuki says the kids' Rudolph romp will be a less formal fun run for the little kids and their parents.
It's a short run, just a couple of blocks, but it should be really, really cute. We have reindeer antlers that we're going to give out when runners pick up their packets.
The Rudolph romp will take place prior to the 5K, and Onuki says she hopes people use the day as a chance to check out some small businesses downtown. 5K registration is $25 for adults or $15 for the kids. The Rudolph romp comes with a $5 suggested donation, with the Minton Children's Museum just having started a year ago. Onuki says she hopes the event is a hit and become a yearly celebration and fundraiser. In the WSJM newsroom, I'm Dave Wolf.
That does sound like a lot of fun, so looking forward to that. Coming up here in just a little bit, Dave Wolf will be back with sports. But right now, let's find out what's happening around the state with the Michigan News Network.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. The Michigan House passed the Clean Energy Future Bill package and bills to streamline the permitting process for renewable energy like wind and solar. A coalition of groups says the state will be a regional leader in clean renewable energy like wind and solar and will help our state address the dangerous pollution causing climate change. State Representative Andrew Beeler voted against the legislation, claiming the Democrat mandates, which would mandate 100% clean electricity production by 2040, requiring expensive construction of wind and solar power and leading to the closure of natural gas and coal power plants. He says the shift to less reliable power sources would increase the likelihood of blackouts and brownouts. Members of the community were given an opportunity last night to ask questions about an independent investigation into the Oxford High School shooting. One asked if it would be appropriate for Governor Whitmer to get involved. I'm Beth Fisher for the Michigan News Network.
Every year.
All right, good morning to everyone watching on our Facebook and our YouTube. Hope you're having a good start to your day. Got the coffee. Actually had to go get the second cup of coffee for the morning. So already getting things rolling. Yeah, got to get the coffee going through my veins. Actually, no, that's not a good idea. Don't want to do that. Coming up here in just a little bit, going to share new Beatles song, which this is pretty interesting and I'm sure a little bit controversial on how this all came about. I'm sure some people will say, no, we don't need another one. But I think it's a cool thing and a nice tribute. And I'll share a little bit of the song and a little bit of the backstory with you as well. How's everybody doing on their Halloween candy? Are you enjoying the Halloween candy? Are you getting through all the candy? Because I know when I shared that with you, what was it? Well, it would have been on Wednesday after Halloween, of what you're supposed to do with all the candy once you get it, and you're supposed to eat it. One dentist, at least, says you're supposed to eat it all in one sitting. Just eat it all. Now, I'm sure other dentists will disagree, but how long you have to get through your extra Halloween candy? A new survey or new story came out. They say chocolate candies, if it's unopened, those can last up to a year. Dark chocolate lasts up to 2 years. For opened bags of loose chocolate candy, you cut that timeline in half. Now, sour candies, those can last up to a year if you open a bag, store it in an airtight container to increase the shelf life. Gummy candies, those last about 6 months to a year, depending on how it's stored. A cool, dry place, of course, is good. Candy corn, 300 to 600 years if stored at a room temperature. No, I'm kidding. 3 to 6 months with candy corn. An unopened package can last up to 9 months. I thought they made candy corn like one time in like 1962. And they just every year they have somebody that candy corn harvests all the candy corn up again from wherever it may be lying around collecting dust somewhere. And then they just blow the dust off and it's good to go. No, that's not the case. Well, at least that's what I thought. Other things I saw. Oh, I was talking about this earlier this morning about the school bus driver shortage. How the state of Michigan is trying to attract more than 1,000 new bus drivers. And I was reading more on this. Governor Gretchen Whitmer recently signed legislation that allows school districts to use their sinking funds, their savings accounts, made up of local tax funds, to help cover some school transportation costs. Now, the new state education budget also includes $125 million to help offset transportation costs for districts as well. This new model will help schools spend their state per pupil funding on classroom initiatives rather than on costs of fuel, bus repair, and driver pay. One Lansing superintendent said higher pay for drivers will also help, and he suggested making them full-time school employees with benefits. Man, most school bus drivers are part-time, and sometimes, in most cases and in most districts, those school bus drivers then become like parapros or help in the office or do this, that, and the other, maybe work in maintenance or something like that. But making them full-time could be a game changer. It would make them available to take on other school jobs during the day when they're not driving. And then, the occasional field trip in the middle of the day or something like that, the flexibility is there. And, well, not even the flexibility, but the more reliability of being able to have them on a daily basis would be good. So, what are your thoughts? Anybody a school bus driver or want to be a school bus driver? If you're ever considering it, it's a good time to talk to your local school district's transportation director, or stop by the office and just, when you're picking up your kids, just say, "Hey, if you need a sub for a school bus driver or whatever, I'd love to get some of that training in." Of course, there's an investment for both, not only the school, but also the individuals that are doing it, investment of time and then investment of money for each school district. So you got to be serious about it. But if you're really interested, they could definitely use you right now. Coming up here in just a little bit, there's some buzzwords or words of the year, that is, for 2023. What do you think some of the most popular words are for 2023? Some Collins Dictionary, which I've never heard of the Collins Dictionary. I know the Webster's Dictionary. Collins must just be like Webster's roommate or something like that. But the Collins Dictionary has already come up with their 2023 word of the year, and 2023 is not even over yet. It's only November. But they've got a few of their words of the year for 2023. So I'll share that with you, and also share the new Beatles song, which I think is pretty interesting because I've always loved music, and I've always loved how they produce music and the stuff that they do and how technology has progressed. I mean, there's still usually somebody sitting at this giant board in a studio twisting all these knobs that not a lot of people know what they do. But it's interesting how technology has progressed and how they've been able to do some of the stuff now that they weren't able to do even 10, 15, 20 years ago. So pretty interesting stuff. So I'll share that with you in just a couple of minutes. Speaking of technology, we'll get to our tech trends from ABC here in just a moment as well. I know. Sorry, I'm yawning. Not supposed to yawn because you probably just yawned too, didn't you? All right. Let's get back to the show here.
County riders and other businesses to donate to Toys for Tots to make Christmas special for kids in Berrien County.
From ABC News Tech Trends, the Biden administration is taking their ideas about artificial intelligence abroad. Vice President Kamala Harris was in London this week talking about the future of AI regulation.
History will show that this was the moment when we had the opportunity to lay the groundwork for the future of AI.
It comes on the heels of President Biden signing an executive order directing federal agencies to create standards for using AI in fields like medicine and transportation. And there's more, according to Neil Chilson of the Mercatus Center.
There are requirements that some of the largest companies and the largest models have to register with the government before they are trained.
But he says a piece of the puzzle is still missing.
The White House can't do really comprehensive things without Congress getting involved.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow. Provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
WSJM Weather You Can Depend On is sponsored by Boss Services, raising the standard for heating, cooling, and electrical in Southwest Michigan. Boss Services.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today. We're going to see a lot of clouds across the area and temperatures warming up a little bit more. We're going to end up around 53. Winds will be out of the southwest. It's going to be pretty breezy today. Mostly clouds tonight. We drop down to 44. We could see a few sprinkles overnight. And then for Saturday, mostly cloudy. High temperatures at 55. We'll be back at 58 on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
Hey, it's Fred Upton, and you're listening to The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on 94.9 WSJM.
Hey, good morning. You can be part of the show anytime. You can always call 925-WSJM. You can email letstalk@WSJM.com. And flying solo this morning, Ken out sick, so hopefully he feels better and he's back next week. The 2023 year has not wrapped up just yet, but the word of the year has already come out. Some people over at Collins Dictionary, which I never heard of Collins Dictionary before. I know the popular one is the Webster's Dictionary, so Collins must be like either his roommate or best friend or something like that. But they have come up with their 2023 word of the year, and that is actually an acronym that dominated the English language this year, and we just heard it in our tech trends just a moment ago, and that's AI, or, of course, artificial intelligence. Now, it's defined by the Collins Dictionary as the modeling of human mental functions by computer programs. Other words in the running this year are Nepo baby and ultra processed. But speaking of AI, I thought this was a pretty interesting thing. You've probably been hearing about this bunch of news stories saying, hey, there's a new Beatles song. Now, of course, if anybody knows anything about the Beatles, we know that 2 out of the 4 are still alive. John Lennon dying way back in the late 70s or early 80s, and then George Harrison dying in the 90s. So the only ones left are Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. But the Beatles released just yesterday what they're calling the last Beatles song. It's called Now and Then, and it's from a 1978 cassette tape demo that John Lennon made in his New York City apartment. Now, after he was killed, Yoko Ono actually gave the remaining tapes to the remaining Beatles. Musicians do this all the time. They do demos on their nowadays. They're just recording a lot of stuff on their iPhones, and sometimes those even are the recordings they end up using on the albums. But back in 1994, the remaining Beatles attempted to work on this, but the technology to separate John's voice from the piano just wasn't sufficient, so they shelved it. They couldn't separate those two tracks, as they call them. So they had a few other songs, I guess. I don't remember this, but I guess they had some other pieces and demos and parts from all of them that they were able to kind of put together and do a few songs. But this one was the one that they couldn't clean up. They couldn't get it going. But they were able to do it actually because of Peter Jackson did that Get Back documentary, which if you haven't seen that yet, you need to watch it. It's pretty cool. But Paul and Ringo worked on it not only back in the 90s, trying to put some pieces together, but then when they revived it and said, "Hey, we now have the technology to clean that up and to do that and to pull John Lennon's voice out of that recording and do all the other stuff that they need to do." So Paul and Ringo worked on it this year, and here's a little bit of it. All right, I'll make you go and download and listen to the rest of that. But that is a new song from the Beatles. It's not AI. It's not AI. Well, I'm sure they probably used some AI to help kind of pull some of that stuff out. But it is a real recording of John Lennon from 1978. So how do you feel about this? You think it is cool that they did this, or are you like, wait a minute, technology? I don't know if I like it. Love to know your thoughts. You can call me 925 WSJM or email let's talk at WSJM.com. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cool how technology has progressed and they're able to do some of the things that they weren't able to do 10, 15, 20 years ago. And now they're able to revive this. They did the same sort of thing with, I think, Kurt Cobain. There was some recordings of demos. I think they've done that with Michael Jackson, Prince, and some of the other musicians that have just a ton and ton of music and demos and things like that that they had been working on that this is never released yet. So I think it's cool. And even Paul McCartney had said in a documentary, kind of leading up to this, saying, "I think John would have wanted this," and he knew John Lennon since they were kids. So I think he's a good person to go off of as to what a decision would be. But I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to check it out, the last Beatles song, Now and Then. Coming up here in just a little bit, we'll catch you up with your Moody on the Market update. It's the morning show on 94.9 WSJM.
You love going out to eat, so I suggest you check out Dining Deals, the website where you can buy certificates to local food joints at 50% off. Places like Verde Juice Box, $10 certificate, $5. AJ's Uptown Bar and Grill, $10 certificate, $5. Joey C's Pizzeria, yep, $10.
So what do you think? What do you think of that new Beatles song? I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty cool, the stuff that they did. I actually saw another piece of it where Paul McCartney actually had the son of, I think is it George Martin, who did a lot of their arranging and orchestral stuff. He actually had his son come in because he's also an orchestra conductor. His son do some pieces for it, And any of the orchestra members, they didn't tell him what was going on. They didn't tell him that it was a Beatles song. They said, well, this is something that Paul McCartney's working on, and he just wants to listen to you guys do this and wants to record some stuff. But little did they know that it was a new Beatles song and they were going to be a part of history. So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, they tried to do it back in 95 and they just didn't have the technology. And it's so cool when technology advances. I mean, I know some people are scared of the advancements of technology, but the stuff that they can do now is just so out there and so cool that 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, you never thought was even possible. So I think it's pretty cool. We'll get to your Moody on the Market update here in just a moment. Some cool festive events coming up here very soon that you might want to be a part of happening in South Haven. So I'll tell you about that in just a moment. What's everybody's weekend plans? Man, we've got a busy show today. I know it's just me, but man, when you're by yourself, you prepare even more, because with somebody else, you have offshoot conversations and you kind of go off all over the place. But one person, you usually stay somewhat structured with what you're going to do. And I piled on the topics and information today. So hopefully I'm not overwhelming you with information. Just there's a lot of cool stuff going on. There's a lot of things that you should know about. So I'm just doing my best to not only inform, but entertain you.
On 94.9 WSJM.
When you want to know Southwest Michigan's business, look no further than MoodyOnTheMarket.com and the Moody on the Market app. Our team of contributors always on it, giving you stories about Southwest Michigan business, as well as great, important people you should know about, interesting people that are doing cool things, events, and so much more. And you can check out the Moody on the Move series. That's pretty cool. Zach East hanging out with the folks from Our Lady of the Lake. And we just did this this week as well, handed out the hardware for Bold Women of Business. Got to see, we had all the people come to the Inn at Harbor Shores and hand out the really, really cool award. It's huge. So go check out some pictures and learn more about these Bold Women of Business right now at MoodyOnTheMarket.com. Your Moody on the Market update is brought to you by our friends at Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's agency, with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles. And heading up to South Haven, the Center for the Arts presenting their 37th annual Mistletoe Market, November 18th through the December 15th. The Mistletoe Market Preview Party is going to happen November 17th from 6 to 8, and it will be the 37th annual Mistletoe Market at the South Haven Center for the Arts. This is pretty cool. Now, this holiday market is going to display unique handcrafted gift ideas created by local and regional artists, from things like jewelry to ceramics, photography to painting. And this is a really good opportunity to shop for the holidays, and a one-of-a-kind gift. Those are always good. Get a one-of-a-kind gift for somebody, and you're able to support local artists. Now, the center is going to transform into a beautifully decorated gift market. In the first floor gallery, the upstairs will feature artists and pop-up shops. New to the upstairs gallery this year are ceramic ornaments and pendants by Nancy Grimsley, and copper enamel and wood jewelry by Mary Lamson Burke, as well as a returning favorite, Douglas Lowe, his assemblage and recycled materials artist, in the downstairs gallery. You can get a first look at the 37th annual Mistletoe Market Preview Party on November 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. You want to get more info on this and see more about the South Haven Center for the Arts. You can check it all out when you read that full story at MoodyOnTheMarket.com and the Moody on the Market app. Your update brought to you by our friends at Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's agency, with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles.
We're watching over you. I am.
All right. Woo. It sounds like a really fun thing to do. Find some unique gifts. Head to South Haven and get some really cool stuff. The South Haven Center, South Haven Center for the Arts. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for spending time with me. Hopefully Ken's back next week. Hopefully he's feeling better. Never fun when people are sick. So hopefully he feels better and he's back sometime next week. All right. You have a great day and a great weekend. Enjoy the football tonight, football this weekend, and hopefully you get at least some yard work in at some point. All right. Bye now.